Welcome to Amplify with Amanda Sapp, a space where leadership, culture, and purpose come together. Each week, we spotlight voices who are not just making noise, but making impact. Leaders who understand that influence comes with responsibility and that legacy is built through service. Today's conversation is especially meaningful. We're talking media, community, and what it truly means to lead with intention in a rapidly changing world. This is a conversation about staying rooted while evolving and using your platform to uplift others. I'm honored today to welcome Dr. Peter Allen. He's the founder and CEO of 95.3 JAMZ and award-winning radio executive, and widely known as the legendary DJ Pied Piper and the voice of the night. Born and raised in Pittsburgh and now a Houston cultural icon, Dr. Allen is a visionary behind KPJ 795.3 JAMZ, Houston's home for JAMZ, a digital radio station dedicated to elevating, culture, amplifying voices, and preserving timeless music. He's also the creator and host of Love After Dark, The Quiet Storm, proudly recognized as Houston's first nationally syndicated Quiet Storm radio program, now reaching audiences in more than 16 markets across the country. His impact extends far beyond the airwaves. His leadership and service have earned him the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, a City of Houston Proclamation, Peter Allen Day, and most recently, recognition by the state of Texas as a Radio Personality Hall of Fame honoree, the Texas Music and Community Award. Through mentorship, philanthropy, and unwavering commitment to community, Dr. Peter Allen continues to remind us that leadership is service, and lasting impact is the true measure of success. Dr. Peter Allen, welcome to Amplify with Amanda Sapp.
Thank you for having me. How's everything?
Everything is everything. I'm glad to have you on this broadcast with me today. First and foremost, again, congratulations on being honored at the state of Texas at the Texas Music and Community Awards with a Radio Personality Hall of Fame award. I'm very excited to hear that.
It was definitely a blessing. I got a chance to meet a lot of great community leaders, so it was a blessing to be amongst great leaders.
When you received that call, what was the first thing that went through your mind?
Uh, I was very shocked, humbled. It just came out of nowhere. It was kind of a last minute thing, but it's a blessing to be recognized by your peers for all the hard work that you've done in your 20 plus years of community service, and in the music and radio industry. So it's definitely a blessing. Thanks to God for that.
Love that. I love that. Now, listen, long before the awards and recognition, there was just a love for music and radio. What did radio mean to you when you first fell in love with it?
Man, when I first fell in love with radio, it definitely would have to be, I would have to say my mentor, Rudy V, the legendary Rudy V, the original Quiet Storm host of Magic 102 at the time when I was growing up. So, that smooth voice that, the Quiet Storm is known for. It's just, I could just remember rushing home and just studying and trying to emulate that voice and, just tuned in not only to the voice, but how he would carry the show through the slow jams.
Mhm. When you get ready to get on the mic today, do you still think about that time? Is that feeling that you had then? Do you still have that feeling today?
Yes, very much so. A lot of people, they like to get their playlists together, or they have a radio format playlist that they are required to go by. Me, I don't do that, because to me, the art of music is storytelling. So I still enjoy the 3 hours that I have on air through the art of storytelling. So it's, I just let the music just take me wherever it's going to take me that night.
If you think back over your life and your career, what is one song that describes your story?
The one song I definitely would have to tip my hat off to my favorite singer of all time, Frankie Beverly, Silky Soul. Just, you know, a laid back kind of brother, just, soulful and just paying homage to the generation before him.
I love that. Okay, now from Pittsburgh to Houston, and now nationally syndicated, your journey has been layered and intentional. What part of your journey stretched you the most?
Being in Houston, I mean, I remember, growing up in Pittsburgh as a kid, just I don't really remember music like that. I mean, I know music was played in the house. I do remember that aspect. But just, moving to Houston in '88 and just, barely fresh and just studying the hip hop scene because I don't remember hip hop growing up. I just remember it, when I was a teenager growing up in Houston, the Dougie Fresh, the Big Daddy Kanes, and just that era of what music, and that's what music was to me was an art. It was a lesson. So it, that growing up, it's always from there on to now. That's been my journey.
Now we're talking about being nationally syndicated. How many markets are you in now? Where else can people hear you? Um,
You can hear me in Florida. You can hear me in Cleveland. You can hear me in Atlanta, Chicago, uh, Connecticut, North Carolina, and the list goes on and on.
mhm, mhm. Now, was that the original plan? Was to go for syndication? Tell me a
No,
little bit
actually,
about.
I wasn't even thinking about syndication. I was just, just going through the normal aspects of the Quiet Storm Love After Dark here, on 95.3 Jams, and then, the Atlanta market called, and, was impressed, with the show, and they wanted to pick up the show, and it just, that one year, it just, people kept calling and calling and calling, I guess, word traveled, and and yeah, so it was, I wasn't prepared for it, but I was, ready for it.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, let me also say congratulations to 95.3 Jams on its continued growth and cultural impact. What was your vision for the station when you first created it, and how close are you to that vision today?
Uh, I mean, I remember, growing when I interned at, at a local major station here in Houston, I saw what, the situations were, the personalities, they had longevity already there. So for somebody new like myself that went to school for this, trying to come on and be on air talent is very hard. Whether it's TV or radio, it's an industry that is very hard to get into. So, when I couldn't find my lane to get into, the actual, major stations here in Houston, I decided, to create my own platform. Of course, I did other radio stations, internet stations that I did for a couple of years just to learn the craft. And, of course, we were internet at one point, and then, we became a fully licensed digital broadcast station. So we transitioned with the market. So to me, it's all about opening up doors for people with talent that can't get into those major markets come here, learn the tools, let me guide you the right way, and just, for you to elevate to the next chapter of your journey.
Mhm, mhm. Now, what is your take on the wave, the phenomenon of digital platforms, internet radio? How are you seeing it evolve? Are you excited about the way that things are growing? Are you taking advantage of all the opportunities that internet radio provides? For someone who is interested in doing exactly what you've done and be a part of these types of platforms, what would you say to them? What kind of advice would
Well,
you give?
I know the digital broadcast aspect of it, where you got two versions. You got the internet version, and then you actually have a digital broadcast version, which you are a fully licensed radio station allowed to play commercial music. Internet stations, you can play commercial music, but you're not allowed. If something happens to where the major artist finds, you can get seriously in trouble for that. So, with us having a license, we're allowed to, to play commercial music. So, just growing up from, for the 11 years that we've been on, we're getting ready to celebrate 11 years here at 95.3 Jams in 2026. So, our birthday's coming up. So, just from where I first started, half of the social media platforms wasn't even around. So, just seeing the new age take over the market, and just with these college kids coming out already with the training, those are some of the skills that I didn't even know when I went to school. So it's very much evolved, and just with the new generation teaching me new things, it's a blessing. It's definitely grown a lot.
Mhm, mhm. You've talked about leadership is service. When did that shift form of belief into a way of life for you?
It's about being grounded. It's about teaching the next generation and being true to your word every day, all day. You got to stand for what you believe in, and you can't veer off of that. So, with leadership and service, it's just every day continuing education and, helping others get to the next level. By helping others, you're actually providing great quality leadership.
Mm. As we're talking about helping others, I want to tap in a little bit about your mentorship with youth and feeding the homeless, supporting schools. It's just another way that you're impacting in community. Why has giving back always been a priority, no matter how busy life gets?
It's about, to me, there have been people who will, have opened up doors for me when I was just trying to get into whatever avenue, whether it be through school, whether it be through, work or whatever the case is. There are others that opened up the door for me. So I want to continue to do the same and just taking it to the next level. Oftentimes we feed the homeless for photo ops, or we do things. I don't do things like that for photo ops. I don't carry a camera crew with me to take pictures on. I don't need none of that. It's just for me, doing God's work.
Mhm, mhm. And are there any opportunities that we can come and contribute to your philanthropy? Are there any organizations that you're donating your time to today that we can follow your movement with?
Yeah, I have a few organizations that I work with. I don't, yeah, I know the names of the people. I just, I forget their
Oh, sure.
their
Yeah.
organizations, but I team up with them pretty much, throughout the course of the year. I just, reached out to a lady named Aisha who awarded me with an award this past, I think it was December, either December or November. So me and her are going to do some work together in the community, and definitely, get some good work done.
Love
So.
that. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about the future of media. Now, we know the media is evolving faster than ever with AI, streaming, and short form content. What do you believe will never change about the power of radio?
Uh, the genuine ship of what radio is and what media is, the realness of it. Yeah, AI is taking over, but that's a good thing. That to me, that's a good thing because that's and I was listening to a interview that Jermaine Dupri was having a couple of days ago, and they asked him the same thing about AI. So he was like, that's going to be a blessing for those people with real talent because now people are going to appreciate the genuine talent that a particular individual has, not just the AI generated version. So, that's going to be a blessing for the true artistic people. So, I think it's a good thing.
Um, and my final question for you, with honors from the state of Texas, the city of Houston, and communities nationwide, how do you hope your work and leadership are remembered?
It's just about staying focused, grounded, continuing helping up, opening up doors for the next generation, and let the next generation take over. So, we're doing good things. So it's going to be a blessing.
And lastly, are there any events that we need to know about or any upcoming initiatives from you that we need to find out about partnering with you on?
Well, we what I do is with my day in the city of Houston, Peter Allen Day is what I do is I created a uh, back to summer school drive. So a lot of people do back to school drives, but a lot
Yeah.
of people don't think about the less fortunate that they have to go to summer school. I was a prodigy at summer school, so I understand the importance of summer school. They may can't afford new clothes or new backpacks and things like that. So what I do is I receive a couple donations, then I take it to one school that I think is worthy of that. So the first year that I did it is I took it back. I took donated a whole bunch of stuff back to the middle school that I went to in the city of Houston. So, you know, it's just about continuing doing that. And then, you know, of course, we have Jam Fest that we recently started back up, which is Houston's 95.3 Jams concert series. So we had Cliche headline last year. So, you know, we're looking to bring her back and just, you know, continue doing great things in the community. And, you know, we'll do the back to summer school, and then, you know, we'll do the team up with other organizations to where we can be a part of, you know, of their journey. So, you know, and we're, you know, you'll be seeing more of 95.3 Jams out in the community doing pop-up shops, and, you know, you'll see us live at different concerts, different events. So our team is busy. You know, we're good out there.
I love that. I love that. And lastly, finally, give me 3 words that best describe your organization.
The key word, we're blessed, we're jamming, and we're growing.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Peter Allen, thank you so much for being my guest here today on Amplify with Amanda Sapp. Please tell us how we can find you.
Thank you for having me. You can find me on Facebook under Dr. Peter Allen, and on Instagram, you can find me at Real DJ Pod Piper. And you can find the station at 95.3 Jams everywhere across the board.
We appreciate you. We thank you so much for being my guest here today.
Thank you for having me, sis. Always a blessing to, you know, always talk to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Peace and blessings to you.
Continued success, sis.
Thank you.
All right.